Hi, and welcome back to our DDS Interview Sprint Part 4. In today's video, we will go over demystifying 2 common myths surrounding a profile-based type of DDS interview. Now, before jumping right into it, let's understand what the profile-based interview or element of your DDS interview is. Now, simply said, this part of your interview has everything to do with what you have sent the school as part of your application, your profile. Now, what does that include? It includes your CV, your personal statement, your responses to the supplemental questions, and anything else depending on the school that falls under your application. Now, it's important to note that there are 2 types of profile-based interviews: open file and closed file. Now, open file, very straightforward. This just means that your interviewer, during your interview, actually has all of those elements that fall under your profile right there and then to question you on the spot from what they see. In a closed file, they don't have that part. They don't have your profile. However, what changes is simply that post-interview, that's where the interviewer actually evaluates your responses based on what they see on your profile. Now let's get right into it and tackle the 2 most common myths that candidates have regarding the profile-based element of your DDS interview. Myth number 1, if I have a low GPA and/or if I failed my INBDE or TOEFL multiple times, and/or if I lack US experience, then I don't stand a chance. Short answer, false. First, you would not have been invited to a DDS interview if any of these situations were actually decisive for your DDS school. So take a deep breath, because being invited to your DDS interview actually means that you do have strong chances of getting into your DDS school. Rather, in a profile-based interview, or for any profile-based questions, the interviewer wants to know the why and evaluate how you've grown from these so-called failures. It's actually a great time to mention that here in the US, failing or failures, including these so-called failures, are actually celebrated. What matters is that they're celebrated because they have taught you something. That is why at Caapid Simplified, part of our philosophy as coaches is to actually embed in you the necessity to reflect. And it's really just as important, if not more important, than building your responses and responding. So how should you tackle a profile-based question if you are in any of these situations? Well, you have a reason, right? So let's forget the DDS interview environment. And let's imagine this. You scored a 92 on your TOEFL the first time you took it. And then you took it twice more to finally reach a score of 102. Now, true, it took you a few pit stops to get the score that you want. But guess what? You climbed the mountain and you made it to the summit. And that is the growth that your interviewer will want to hear and see from you. That is your story. My point, for any of these situations, you have a reason. It's about you. It's your profile. And whatever that reason is, what matters is how you package that reason. And what we believe when it comes to packaging your reason, the best way to do so is to convey your reason in a story format. Myth number 2, I have to check off all the boxes that my DDS school wants, even if it means saying that I'm interested in something that I'm not. Short answer, nope. Every DDS school, especially nowadays, is looking for a diverse pool of students. And diversity, not just in terms of culture, but diversity also in terms of what students do outside of dentistry and how students think differently and bring in new perspectives. So no, you don't have to check off all the boxes. Let's say you're not interested in research, but the DDS school you're being interviewed by is known for research. Be honest. Rather, shed lights on your strengths. Shed light on why you're attracted to this school and why you want to join that school. So really, it's your individuality and your ability to convey your confidence in who you are that will get you to ace your interview. And not whether your response fits this theoretical school's box. Being yourself is actually how you check off all the boxes that your interviewer and your DDS school want. Okay, so to sum it all up, the goal for the interviewer when asking a profile-based question is to cement who you are from everything that they've seen thus far, uncover any discrepancies within your profile, and evaluate why you have chosen to go down certain paths. Now, just like we did in our previous videos, we recommend a very simple but valuable exercise to get you started with your practice when it comes to a profile-based interview or tackling profile-based questions. Now, the first thing we want you to do is make several copies of your profile, your application that you sent to your DDS school. Then find 2 people who are dentists or just in the medical field and 2 people who are non-medical and ask them to give you 3 questions that they would ask if they were your interviewer after looking at your profile. Now, when you collect the questions, the ones that are being repeated, those are ones that you can be almost certain will be asked by your actual interview or in your DDS interview. And the ones that are not being repeated, we recommend using those as practice when you formulate responses using our recommended story approach. Disclaimer: regardless of the type of DDS interview that you were invited for, always know your profile inside and out. Your profile is the best place to start when identifying your stories, the stories that will help you make you memorable during your interview. So not only is your profile a resource to help you practice and build your responses during your interview, but it's actually what your interviewer and the admission panel look at when making their final decision. So in other words, 1, always expect to receive a version of a profile-based question, regardless of the DDS interview type that you've been invited for. And 2, you want to make sure that you always are guiding your interviewer to focus on what you want them to focus on during your interview and post-interview. All right, now we hope that you found this element of a DDS interview type, the profile-based DDS interview, valuable and helpful. Stay tuned for our final video where we will go over sample responses to each of the 4 elements that can be expected during a DDS interview. See you soon.